Hi, I'm Josh, and I'm a recent computer science with cybersecurity graduate. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about how I went from my first year of uni all the way to my first day starting a role in my field of cybersecurity. So let's start at the beginning. I went to uni to do a bachelor's degree in computer science with cybersecurity, which was actually, you know what? This is actually just a computer science degree on Bureau, because less than a quarter of the course actually had cybersecurity modules, and so it was basically a computer science degree. And I also had a placement year included with my degree, which is basically this like 1 year long internship. So you know how typically your internships for like 3 months or something, or like a spring internship or winter internship. So this is like a whole year dedicated to like you going out there working in the field and getting some experience. So my first year of uni was literally the easiest year of uni I think ever, because first year of uni was like, if I was to make a comparison, it was like a repeat of A level math and A level computer science, because like a lot of the content there, a lot of the things that were taught there were very, very similar. Perhaps you're using a new programming language, okay, fine. But like a lot of the concepts and a lot of the things you learn at A levels will just be repeated at that point. Obviously, it's not exactly the same. You have like a few modules that are just sprinkled on top to just make it look as though, this is a it's not just computer science and A level math repeated, but it's basically a lot of it is the same thing. And I guess the point behind that was to get everyone on the same page, so that everyone's coming into the following years as on the same level in regards to the knowledge that you are expected to have when you're going into second year. So on the other hand, though, second year was the most difficult year of uni for me personally, and I'll explain why in a second. But like this is like let me like preface it with this. It's like second year was the most useful year if you don't know what you want to be doing or what you're really interested in regards to your field, because basically second year teaches you exactly what you don't like. It teaches you everything you don't like. And again, like I said, it's a very useful year, but it just wasn't useful for me. Like ideally, personally, I would have picked the modules that I would have wanted to do that were related to my field. So instead of my course being like less than 25% cyber, it would have been like 40-50% cyber if I had gotten to pick out the modules that I wanted to get into. Um, but, you know, like this was like a key factor for me. Like, imagine you're there and you're learning something that you really, one, don't want to learn, but also two, you're never going to use ever. Like, okay, picture this. Remember like GCSEs when you were sat there in the back of a class. For you, this might be like physics or like, I don't know, advanced math, and you're doing calculus or some shit. For me, it was geography, right? And I remember we were sitting there and we were learning about rocks and dirt. Like obviously, no shade to the people who wanted to go into geology and all that, but me as a guy who knew that he wanted to go into technology and into the field of tech, right? Going and learning about rocks and dirt was like a waste of my time, I think, right? Like, imagine, and the worst thing about this is like we had a whole school trip for this. We had a trip where we went out and we looked at rocks and dirt, and that was probably the biggest waste of time. Genuinely speaking, a massive waste of time for me. Anyways, for other people, obviously this must have been so useful. They must have really cared about how much dirt was on the floor, and that's great for them. Like great, but it wasn't for me. But anyways, this was definitely like one of the aspects that made like second year very difficult. Was like doing something you're not interested in, you're never gonna use, and then the other thing that made second year difficult was looking for a placement job, right? So essentially, like I said at the beginning, my course included this placement year. So it's like a year long internship. And what they don't tell you is that you have to be the one to apply and find the role. This is just like a normal job, right? Like you're going out there, you're gonna apply to these companies, you're gonna fill out all their like prerequisites before you even get to that point of having an interview. And So you're doing that for hundreds of companies, hundreds. I got rejected so many times. It got to the point where it was ridiculous. But I think I got better as I got rejected more. Because like with every rejection, you just figure out, oh, I could have done this better, or I could have changed this, I could have tweaked that. And like so, as you get on, you get better. And I know that the first time I went out for an interview, like the pressure was on, it was high, um, and I fumbled quite a bit. But I'm very grateful for that fumble though, because if I had landed that role for my first that first interview that I went to, if I had landed that role, I would have been so miserable because I wouldn't be in my field. I wouldn't have been in my field. So essentially, for me, my second year, first term, was balancing applying for roles and assignments, and it really got to me. It did, because at the end of first term, a lot of my friends had placements. A lot of them were like, "Oh yeah, I already know where I'm going to be going. I've got this and this sorted out. I'm starting to sort out accommodation now. I'm doing." And I felt so far behind. It really got to me, and so I just had to like buckle down. I had to like lock in and apply to more and more, and eventually I landed two roles, and I got one with a software development company, like doing a software development role, and I got another one with a cyber insurance firm, and obviously I wanted to go into cybersecurity, so I went into the cyber insurance firm, right? Like that makes logical sense. But I remember when I was applying, it got to a point whereby like when we reached the end of the first term, it got to a point where I was so desperate. I was so desperate. I applied to roles that were everywhere in the UK. It didn't matter if they wanted me to be depressed, living in Scotland and, in some grey town where, it didn't matter. It didn't matter. What mattered was that I got a placement, and I applied to some of the wildest, there was some jobs I didn't even want to do, but I applied for them anyways because I was just like, I just need to make sure I get my foot in the door, and that I can get like some industry experience, right? I'll be real with you guys. My placement year taught me more in regards to cybersecurity than all 3 years of uni combined. Third year of uni was easier than second year because at least like now I'm coming in after having worked 40-hour weeks for my placement, right? And the other advantage of third year is that you get to pick your suffering, right? You get to pick which modules you're gonna do. You get to pick your project. What are you gonna work on for your dissertation or your technical report, whatever they call that at your university. And again, I think the thing for me that made third year difficult was just time management. It was managing my time between assignments, my project, and then applying for jobs, and lastly, of course, like my part-time job that I was doing. So I was a part-time procrastinator. I spent hours on my phone, like literally scrolling and ignoring the tasks that I know I should be doing. Annoyingly, this is like a voluntary role, so I didn't get paid for this, although I should have. I wish I got paid for it. The thing is, after like in third year, the other thing that was getting to me was also applying for jobs, and I basically had to do the same thing I did in second year, because the company I had worked for during my placement year, they had a hiring freeze, and I wasn't gonna be looking to wait for like let's say August or September for me to be able to start a role. I wanted to start a role like immediately when I was done with university, and so I just kept applying to a crap ton of roles, and eventually I landed the role and I started literally first July. Grad was like mid towards end of July, whatever, and yeah, it was just great. Like I quickly rolled into the team because I already had prior experience and prior knowledge from working in placement. Like during the placement, I did a role that's very similar to what I'm doing now, and that made this so much easier for me because I could just walk in and hit the ground running, and so yeah, would I recommend a placement? Absolutely, absolutely. It definitely makes a world of a difference. So yeah, that was my uni journey, I guess, and yeah, if you are obviously, if you want to hear more of what I'm doing and are interested in things that I'm interested in, then obviously subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.